So, looks like we're back to our old setup, different states, which is kind of cool. A little throwback. I'm very happy to finally dive into Nirvana's Nevermind, which I wasn't sure if you would really like some of the grunge scene. It's not for everybody, honestly. Like, I've tried showing some of my friends it, and they're just like, whatever, I'd rather listen to country. And I'm like, okay.
I can see that. I think, so the reason that we're kind of switching our format a little bit here, instead of doing a reaction, I think this is more of a live review, if you will. Because I have heard some of the songs on here, so it wouldn't necessarily be an authentic reaction. Kind of look at it more objectively rather than emotion-based. So we'll go song by song, and I'll give you my thoughts on each one.
And how many have you actually listened to?
Just the first one. But the first one, I think, is what everyone came here to see. So why don't you tell me a little bit about just a very brief summary.
The biggest thing about Nirvana was how pivotal they were in the music scene. Because, I mean, you know what the hair metal was like. It's what our dads listened to, and you hear on the radio. You had like 10 years of that, nonstop, same thing, day in and day out. When 1991's Nevermind came out, it just exploded because it was the age of the kids that were like, I'm tired of all this same hair metal and the same music all the time. Then you had someone like, Kurt Cobain coming on there screaming, singing about Smells Like Teen Spirit and all this other shit. And they're just like, holy crap, this is awesome. This is a different sound. Because Kurt was a good guitar player, but he was a very simplistic one. He's not like in any regards like a John Petrucci. And he admits that in a lot of interviews. He's like, I don't care about scales and arpeggios. I just like to play music.
I think if you come up with something daring to push the boundaries of popular music, I think that kind of makes up for what could be perceived as a lack of technical playing ability. Yeah. But we'll go ahead and jump into the first song of this album, which I'm sure everyone's heard a million times, Smells Like Teen Spirit. So Smells Like Teen Spirit, I think, is something that you can kind of classify as an accidental masterpiece, because I think it was designed, like you said, to kind of rebel against the typical shit that you were listening to in 1989, or I know this came out in 91, but you were talking about the rise and fall of hair bands. Yep. It's very simple music, but it's amazing how it comes together and makes this huge, grand sound. The vocals, I think, are a major part of the song that stand out, because they're kind of like screamy, but they're not like death metal scream. And I think that was what was so polarizing about the hair band fans back in the day. I think that's one of the distinguished qualities that I think they don't really like, whereas hair band was the more opera sounding vocals with the very, very pitchy. And also I think it was a perfect length too. It doesn't get old too fast, even if it is kind of like repetitive, meaning they loop the guitar over and over again. Yep. But it's like assembled in a way that it sounds like something different every time.
As I watched the documentary on it, and when he showed this to his mother, I don't know if it was hindsight just for the movie, but she said that when she heard it for the first time, she was like, you better get ready, because this is going to be a hit, and you're not going to know what to do with yourself.
It's a song that's almost like criticism proof, because any criticism that you might have of it, and I'll get to that, kind of works with the song and kind of assists it and makes it an even better song. Like the lyrics, for example, talking about like mosquitoes, libidos, and albinos. It works with the song. But since it was kind of like messy with the lyrics, I'm gonna have to give it like a 2 out of 10. So yeah, just like trash because the lyrics weren't there. Everything else was awesome, like the beat and whatever, but just because the lyrics weren't like works of Shakespeare, I'm gonna have to give it like a negative 15 million. I had to get you for that one, for what you did to my boy Travis Scott and his lyrics.
It was good. That's perfect. He actually, if you watch a lot of interviews, he liked poems, and he would just put random stuff together, and he would get annoyed when people tried to look into his lyrics. They're like, what does this mean? And he's like, him personally was like, I don't know what it means. It just sounds good when I put it together. So that's how he's always been. Certain songs there's actual meaning to. Other ones he just puts shit together and, thought it sounded good.
So I have to give this one a 10.
Really?
You can't not give it a 10. All right, track number 2, In Bloom. So In Bloom is kind of a tough one to analyze. What I thought was that it definitely carried over some of that momentum from Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it almost feels more laid back. They take it down one notch, but once again, it works for the song. I'm going to give this one probably an 8.
Cool.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I thought you'd like the drums. I thought you liked the drums in it.
Oh, Dave Grohl's like a superstar. Just I admire him so much for being able to be a fantastic drummer. Only with like he didn't have like one of these massive sets, right? He was in like one of these Neil Peart's that had like Neil Peart, excuse me. Had like the 15 million drum sets. He was using like how many pieces? Like 6?
Probably like a normal 6 piece.
Probably around 6, and then he goes and switches to guitar and vocals.
Yep, starts his own band.
Like,
actually, the funny thing,
needless to say,
he does have talent.
Yeah.
The funny thing though is this song is the only song he didn't play drums on.
This isn't him?
This isn't him.
Who is it?
It was the original drummer that they kicked out before they got Dave. So it's the only song on the whole album that's not Dave.
So they got Dave, and then they just like skip a song, and then why not just have him play over the other drummer stuff?
That's what I thought. They recorded this before they made Nevermind, and they were like, let's put it on there, it works. When they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Dave Grohl went up there and he's like, yeah, I didn't do the drum work on In Bloom. He said the guy's name. This next one, Come As You Are, is an important one because in his hometown, on the sign, like, you know when you enter a place, it says welcome to whatever.
Yep.
It'll say welcome, and then it says the town name, and it says Come As You Are, and they put that there because of Kurt.
That's pretty eerie that you said they put that on their hometown, right, on the sign entering his hometown.
Yep.
Because the lyrics are kind of like, to me, they sound like almost a foreshadowing of how he died. Do you know if that's a coincidence, or is that like a cry for help? That's twisted.
when I saw the documentary, the bass player Chris Novoselic, who was good friends with Kurt, he said that a lot of the songs they realized after the fact. He put a lot of like pretty obvious stuff in there, but they just never thought of it at the time because they're like, oh, these are cool lyrics. He never went into depth which one he was talking about, but this one might be one of them. He put more thought into these lyrics, I think.
And I also read up a little bit about it. This was supposed to be the single off of the album,
It was. The reason they didn't do it was because there was another band around the time who weren't as popular, and the beginning of their song sounds just like this one. And Kurt kind of not stole it, but it sounds really similar, and he was worried that if they put that as a single, they'd be like, oh, that's that band, and not, Nirvana. But they didn't care. Like, they heard the song, they were like, yeah, that kind of sounds like our song, but whatever, we don't care. And my favorite part about this song is probably the effects on the guitar. That's probably
I love that. And the bass, the deep sub bass, that was a cool change up from their earlier stuff. But also going back to the single thing, I don't think you're gonna have a bigger single than Smells Like Teen Spirit, so I think that also contributed to this not being the lead single. But I can see here it's starred, so that's the second most popular on the album. So I probably rate Come As You Are probably a 9. My favorite part was like what you said, the sub bass, or was that a guitar or a bass?
It was a guitar. The bass is playing the exact same thing as the guitar, but it's hard to hear the bass because of the effects on his guitar.
Oh well, it works.
It does.
It works.
Yeah, it's a good sound. So this next one, I think you'll like it, but it won't be like, oh my god, I can't wait to listen to this again.
Okay.
Song.
So Breed, I think they took it up a couple notches.
They did. I like the intro.
Yeah, back from where they came from, and the repetitiveness of the lyrics are kind of, are designed to be like that, because he was originally going to name the song Imodium after someone's diarrhea medicine.
Yep.
Did you know about that?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to see if you would say it.
Yeah, diarrhea of the mouth. That's why he did that. So why did he change it to Breed?
Probably just rolls off the tongue better. I mean, actually, I think Imodium sounds cooler.
There are some kind of differing opinions or theories on why he called it that, but it's theorized that the song is about his mom and kind of how she got pregnant with him at 18 and just didn't want the baby.
Unfortunately, that is what happened. Yeah, it was the typical, because he was born in the late 60s. It was the typical, like, get married, have kids, and that's it. And they got divorced, and he went from home to home all the time, and it screwed him up. They put him on medicine, too, when he was younger, and it didn't help. Yeah,
no, otherwise, that was good. I think how you described it was perfect. It's not something I'd necessarily go back to. But
that's what I thought, yeah.
It was a good workout song.
Yeah, it is.
It was good. So I'll probably give that one a 6.5.
That's good. It's not bad. All right, so this next one is actually a really big favorite of mine. It's probably my second favorite.
So I can't shit on it now because you said it's your favorite song.
Second favorite song.
So I think what you can take from there is that hindsight, I think, has a lot to do with it. But I mean, how the hell did these guys not figure out that this dude was depressed and needed help? How did they not figure that out?
Dude, I don't know. I think they just kind of got used to him complaining all the time. He tried to kill himself multiple times.
Yeah, I read about that. He really likes saying "yeah" a lot too. I noticed.
Yeah, he
that.
does.
He should have a "yeah" off with Lil Uzi.
He should.
I'd probably give this one 7.
7.
Yeah, better than the last one.
I think Polly was a good. It's kind of like the midway point of the album. Like you got all this, kick-ass songs, and then you kind of got this, acoustic upbeat feel. It's actually funny. The song sounds like cool and like, oh, cool, this is nice sounding, but it's actually about. It was in the newspaper. The song's about. I think it was a girl that was kidnapped by this crazy guy and kept her in the basement.
1987.
So. It's kind of funny. So like the whole time you listen to it, you're like, oh, cool, Polly wants a cracker or whatever. And then you're like, oh, it's about being kidnapped and tortured. So, yeah.
What a lovely song. Yeah, this guy definitely didn't need help at all.
No. This one is all, I don't know if you'll like it, but it's all energy. He puts his vocals to the max on this one.
Fun. That sounds like if we just went down in the basement and just bought Logic Pro and we just tried to like break it.
Yep, that's why I wanted you to listen to that one.
That's the song that you were telling me about that they played for like 3 seconds and then smashed their instrument and left, right?
Yes, I think
they were on the TV show. That's awesome.
Unless I'm thinking of another one, but yeah, imagine listen to him in the studio. When he was doing the vocals for that.
It sounds like they designed that song to break their instruments, and then they were upset that it wasn't broken after they were done, so they just broke it anyway.
Mm-hmm. His ending screams just like rip your larynx apart.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, wow is but it's definitely I think the most energetic song of the whole album.
It is, and for that reason, I'm gonna give it an out of 10.
I think that's good. This one's good. The lyrics are just really weird.
That's been a theme here.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the first time I think in a while that we had kind of a change up in the middle of the song, right? Or as the rap listener would call a beat switch. I don't know what you'd call that in grunge. But I did appreciate that. That was good. That was the best one out of the last 3, probably, I'd say.
Yeah, it was good. I liked the change up and the effect. I just spent a long time trying to figure out what the song was actually about, and what most of the internet has come to agree. It's about pregnancy. For the most part, because that middle part with the squeaky toy thing, I remember watching a video on the producer, and he said Kurt brought in like kid toys and was like squeaking them into the mic, and all this stuff talking about all the imagery that he paints is what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
There's a lot of debate on Genius, but what I've seen to be the common consensus is just like a random song about a weird kind of old-fashioned love. That's what
or
Genius
something
said.
Like that too. Yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but that's what it says. That's an 8. Yeah,
8. Awesome. This next one is probably my 3rd or 4th favorite. It's short and sweet, which I like. Really cool sound. I think you'll like it. If you don't, I'd be a little upset. But
okay, so I'm not allowed to dislike this next one. Okay.
No, it's forbidden.
Get the pitchforks out. Get the pitchforks, get the mob. That was fucking trash. No, I'm just kidding. That was good. That was really, really good. The bass.
Oh shit, you gotta be good.
Probably instrumentally, that was the most impressive song. Who was the bass player?
Chris Novoselic.
Okay, that was an outstanding performance by. I don't want to try to pronounce that, but that was that was like Geddy Lee level. Like that was.
It was good.
That was really good.
I actually learned how to play that because I thought it sounded so cool. The main reason I like this one so much, besides the bass, of course, like for bass, is just the feel. It was like kind of upbeat and like and cool, and also I think it showed one of Kurt's vocal talents was the ability to have the melodic singing and then do that like raspy screaming that kind of works for what his music is. And this song I think shows it because the first half he's singing normal, and then he switches to that and it works with the energy of the song.
That's just interesting you say that, because I think out of all the songs up until this point, Kurt was like the standout by far out of all of them. Nick Grohl and the bass player were kind of like in the background. I think this is the first one where the bass player really stood out and Kurt was kind of in the background. So mainly because of the amazing bass playing on there, I'm going to give it an 8.
See the power of bass?
Yeah, that was just all bass there. God is gay.
I don't even know if he said that.
He
maybe.
did say that.
I'd have to go
he said
back.
he used to spray paint it on the side of trucks and he got arrested for it.
You're right. He also spray painted Abort Christ on stuff.
Oh, nice. So that's the first time, I think, in this album that I actually hear influence from a previous band, whereas the rest of this was just like their own stuff. I hear a smidgen of Black Sabbath influence. What do you think?
Really?
You hear that?
Maybe a little bit. I could see certain instrumental parts, yeah.
The beginning kind of sounded like Iron Man, and the end.
I could see, yeah.
And now I know where Post Malone got his face tattoos from.
I really liked On a Plane. I think they put it perfectly right up, because after Stay Away, like, you're just like, it kind of gets you pumped up, like, you know, it's all energetic. And then On a Plane, it's just kind of like sit back, relax about them, like, doing drugs. I really like the harmonization of them singing, like, in the way how it ends. I'd probably give it an 8.
8?
This one was alright. It was kind of, I could see what he was going for. It's a really slow, depressing song, but it's like the same chord the whole song, and it's, but in terms of vocals, I think he nailed it with the mood of the song. But it's not something I would really listen to all the time. It wouldn't really be the first thing I'd put on, so I'd probably give it like a 6. This is actually the only song I don't like on this whole album. I always skip it. I can already see that. I can already see it now. If you think this is the best song on the album, then props to you, but it's not. Like I was saying before, if you thought Territorial Pissing was them, like, going ham, breaking their instruments, this is worse. I would give it like a 4.
4. Ouch.
I don't know.
Well, let's give our overall thoughts. I guess I'll start. Right. Nevermind is an album that I think, after hearing it in full, absolutely deserves its spot in the national treasury of art. I actually was walking through my neighborhood the other day, and I heard not just one, but like a couple different people my age listening to Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's a album that I think we'll look back on 80 years from now and still be like, wow, like, that was pretty cool. Especially coming at it, I was trying to, during the review, put myself as a listener back in like 1991 and hearing this for the first time. That, I think, made it a lot more special. I'm going to give this one, I almost don't want to rate it because it's like forbidden to rate.
It's like,
you know
taboo.
What I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to give this one a 9 as well.
Oh, that's good. I like that. What did you give it a 10?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm sticking with my 9. Great album.
When we grew up, it wasn't really the scene. So when I was doing research and I was like, Nirvana's huge, this and that. Nirvana's Nevermind. It's it just stands out. It's on its own level because it's just the energy it brings, and it also has like kind of like a dark feel to it, which a lot of people describe the grunge scene as a scene of a music era that focused more on mental health, relationships, and like depression and stuff like that, which you kind of get the feel if you think about like how dark it is. If you listen to other grunge bands, they were the same way, whereas with the hair metal, it was all like getting the girl, driving a fast car, partying, but this wasn't. So I think for what it is and what Kurt brought to the scene, even if he wasn't the most stable guy, which sucks because what he went through, I would give it a 10 out of 10 because it's one of my favorite albums of all time.
All right, well said.